John Hattersley, I'm 48 and I'm from the north of England. My story is about
What do you do, Mr. Hattersley?
Sorry?
What do you do?
Oh right, what do I do? I'm involved in education, where I work with schools who are having some difficulties with their management structures and systems, and I work with them to help develop them.
Very good. And what do you do for schools? How do you help them?
What do I do to develop them?
In school?
In school, I work with their senior management team and their teachers and their children to develop an understanding of learning and how the human brain works to facilitate learning. And learning in terms of both what the children learn but also what the staff learn and how they develop that.
Yeah, okay. Tell us your story.
Okay, January of 2001, I noticed that I had a very bad cold virus, and when I got back from a long flight to Canada, I noticed that I had a little bit of out of focus vision in the middle of the day. I'd just started a new job and I thought I was feeling tired because of the job. By February it was clear that the blurred vision was getting worse and worse, so I went to an optician's, and they very, very quickly...
It was blurred vision?
It was, I described it as blurred at the time, and they very quickly sort of said, well, it's not actually blurred, it's double vision that you have, and you need to go to your doctors, and they suggested that I went to casualty straight away. And I delayed a little bit, and eventually got... the difficulty was I didn't have an actual GP because I'd moved house and I was never ill. So
you were never ill before?
I was never ill, no, so why did I need a GP? So I never re-registered. So eventually I had to go back to my hometown to see the doctor there. And it was her actually that recommended I went to casualty because she said it's obviously getting worse very fast.
She must have suspected some brain tumor.
I think so, yeah. So I went to casualty in Macclesfield Hospital, and it was a saga of consultants and their assistants really, where I went to see somebody. He did this sort of thing with a pen and said, you need some tests, make an appointment. 3 weeks later I went for the tests. They said, right, come back make an appointment for 3 weeks for the results of the test. The test was negative. Come back in 3 weeks for this test. The test was negative. Come back in 3 weeks, etc., etc. And this went on for some time. And throughout this time, it was obvious that the vision was getting worse and worse. By by early March, it was impossible to drive. I was having difficulty crossing roads. Crowded places were a severe problem, and it was difficult to do my job in the sense that I couldn't see when people were walking down the corridors towards me, children for example.
Children in school?
In school, I couldn't see which was the real child, and I was constantly bumping into things and what have you.
So the double vision was getting really worse and worse?
At the distance of say 12 feet, I could see two distinct people. One stood almost on top of the other. I was sent up to Manchester to see a neurologist in the first place where I had some tests for something, I think it was called Myathenia Gravis.
Myathenia Gravis, yeah.
And they discounted that at these particular tests. They decided that they wanted to give me a second scan for a brain tumour in case the first scan had actually missed it. And it's important to note that throughout this time, my partner, who's a medical herbalist, right at the very beginning said that she thought it was something to do with the way that my amalgam had been removed about 18 months, 2 years earlier. But I guess because she was my partner, I tended not to take too much notice. I was going to see an acupuncturist called Stephen McCallum in Nantwich.
May I ask you, you had amalgam in your teeth, and you had them removed How long before this double vision started?
About 18 months, 2 years.
About
prior.
18 months, 2 years.
Something like that.
Why did you have your amalgam removed?
Right, when I decided to have it removed because I was having memory loss, great lack of energy, lethargy, confusion. Sometimes I was finding it difficult to speak very clearly and find the right words.
Which is vital for your job.
All things absolutely vital for my job, the energy particularly worrying. Because at that time I was a deputy head teacher in a comprehensive school.
You were deputy head
at
teacher?
At that time, in a very demanding comprehensive school. So I decided I'd have it removed, and my partner recommended I came down here to see you. And I thought, well, you know, having your fillings taken out and that sort of. Again, very much against her advice, I went to see somebody in Manchester who is actually a homeopathic dentist, and I thought, fine. But he actually passed me over to one of his assistants to have the removal done. And when they removed the amalgam, they took no precaution to avoid me ingesting the amalgam.
They took no precautions?
Well, they put a sponge in the back of my throat, but that was only when I made a fuss about it. So, you know,
so you already had some amalgam removed without any?
So they'd already removed some without the sponge, and there's nothing to stop me inhaling spray or anything like that, really.
Or swallowing? Do you feel that you swallowed them?
No, I mean, there's no doubt swallowing base.
You have or you haven't?
I had.
You have?
I mean, I would think it would be impossible not to. I previously had filling removed. And replaced with new amalgam fillings, and that was largely because I used to grind my teeth a lot, particularly when I was decorating. Found it quite stressful. Solved that by stopping decorating. But as I was grinding my teeth, I'd break them and obviously swallow bits of amalgam that way as well. So Alison Trinder, my partner, felt that the double vision was linked to the way that the amalgam had been removed previously.
She suspected what?
She suspected that the amalgam I'd ingested had affected my liver or kidneys.
Or nerves?
Or nervous system, yeah.
Now, what does your partner do for a living?
She's a medical herbalist and or something to do with the eyes, I forgot what I call it. Yeah.
And why did you refuse her advice to come and see us in the first place?
Because she's my partner.
Because she's your partner?
I wasn't.
Or were you scared of the trip to London and Harley Street and so on?
The trip to London, Harley Street, the cost. No doubt about it, all of those.
You were scared of them?
It's a day as well, you know, it's a big day having to come down here. You know what? I mean, now it doesn't seem it, but at the time, what a waste of time going all the way down to London.
At that time, it looked like that, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't think that it was worth going the way down to London to Harley Street to have the...
No, I didn't take the risk she described very seriously. So she felt it was that. She did persuade me to go and see a colleague of hers called Stephen McCallum.
Yes.
In Nantwich. And after he'd been treating me for some time through acupuncture, he got very angry with me. He'd been recommending that I came down to see you because he's a patient of yours, I think. And one day he got very angry with me. My eyes were getting much worse. The consultants at the time decided that it was a nerve receptor that wasn't working, that was operating one particular muscle in this eye. So what was happening, that nerve was getting weaker. The message from that nerve was becoming weaker. Wasn't controlling the muscle, so that eye was going one way, like that.
He said that after doing some tests?
The consultants said that was the problem. The eye was going like that. The other one was trying to catch up, but the two were never meeting up. Stephen McCallum said the damage to this nerve, as Alison said, could well be to do with the mercury attacking the nervous system. And he got very angry one day with me and swore at me and asked if I really wanted to get better. And he basically said I had to come down to see yourself and John Morley up the road. So I went to see John first. John gave me a series of tests, and there was clearly a big issue with heavy metals in the system, and an issue with, I don't know whether he said heavy metals or mercury in this quadrant. I'm not quite sure which he said now. But from there I came around here to see yourself, and you did a mercury test with like a mini vacuum cleaner.
It does suck a sample of air. That's right. So in that way, it is like a mini vacuum cleaner,
so
which is here, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, that showed that
it is the mercury vapor analyzer.
And mercury vapor analyzer.
Okay. And what did that show?
Some mercury vapor from this side on the top and on the bottom.
And a little bit on the top right, top left hand side as well.
A little bit up here.
You had a reading of 20 on the top right hand side, 13 on the bottom, and 3 on the top left hand side, and 0 on the bottom left hand side.
That's right, yeah. Okay. So it surprised me, really, having had the amalgam removed. I'd imagine that there would be, I don't know, it did surprise me actually thinking about it. I mean, like, you get cowboy builders, don't you? You get cowboy dentists, I suppose. I'd imagine that.
No, I wouldn't describe them as that. It's just they did not know enough about the subject at the time, that's all. Hopefully they would know better now.
Yeah, well perhaps, but it was very disappointing to me, I have to say. The liver, I expected it to be in the liver or in the gut or wherever, lodged, but I was a bit surprised to find that it was in my teeth still. A bit disappointed. So I then made an appointment. I guess it must have been just about around about May of last year.
It was June actually, 6th of June.
6th of June. So, more or less a year ago today. To come down and have the amalgam removed, and I had the...
you had white fillings then, and
white fillings, yeah.
And, yeah.
So I had those taken out.
And that reading came through the white fillings.
Came through the white fillings, so I had the white fillings removed. And then I guess you started looking for bits of amalgam, which I guess you found. And
you were asleep at the time, so you didn't know what you did.
Yeah. So they were removed and temporary fillings were put in place. And then...
And we read you again with the mercury vapor analyzer until it was
zero.
It was zero. Yeah. Okay.
But I was still asleep then. So I went back home, and I think it was for the first time I actually took some time off work. I think I took a fortnight off work. And I really went through a heavy detox program.
Yes. What did you do for the detox? I gave you certain advice, and what was that?
What was that? I did as I was told, basically. I had various homeopathic remedies, both in liquid form and in a tablet form.
That's from Steve McCallum and from John Morley.
Steve McCallum and John Morley.
Right.
I also had...
These are homeopathic detox medicines, okay.
I also followed a detox program by my partner. She's, amongst other things, she's a colonic therapist, so I had regular colonics.
Yeah.
I had...
So you had colonic irrigation?
Colonic irrigation. I went on a juice fast, which was much better than I expected. It was fabulous. I had fantastic energy. It was a real surprise.
Right. And also you went through...
what else did I do? You have to remind me what else.
The saunas.
Oh, the saunas.
The saunas.
Absolutely, the saunas were just fantastic. Yeah, the saunas were really good. I had a sauna every day. Now that's a real commitment.
Yeah, and we gave you some vitamin supplements as well.
And vitamin supplements. I think I had selenium, B supplement, vitamin C, one or two other vitamin supplements.
Vitamin E.
Vitamin E, that's right.
Yeah.
In fact, I need to ask you what I need to continue taking with those, because I'm still taking those. But the sauna was fantastic. For me to commit myself to a sauna every day for that long was quite something. And
why did I say you have to follow this regime of saunas and colonic irrigation and the vitamin supplements. The saunas in particular was.
I think some of the things I was taking were chelating the mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So that as I understood that.
It's also because to get the skin being the biggest organ in the body,
yeah.
so
I was skin brushing up, but the idea of the stuff I was taking was to chelate the mercury, which included a herb, lots of a herb, which was wonderful stuff. Which
it's a herbal detox, heavy metal detox.
Yeah, but no, a herb that grew in dark coriander.
Oh, the coriander, yes.
So
you had a lot of coriander.
Lots of coriander with everything.
Yeah.
Which I still
enjoy.
Now, yeah.
Beautiful taste as well.
Oh, it's so good. So I was having that and other things to chelate the mercury so that I could excrete the mercury. And the saunas, the skin brushing, the colonic irrigation were all to excrete the mercury from the system.
Right.
I guess it was, by this time, the double vision was there all of the time. There were no good periods during the day at all. And I couldn't read very well, I couldn't watch TV. Social situations were very unpleasant because I couldn't see who to look at. The medical consultants had advised that it was going to be permanent and get progressively worse.
Which advisor?
The medical consultants, that's the neurologists and the optometrists from Manchester Hospital.
So they gave up on you?
They basically gave up on me, saying that it would get worse. They wanted me to have further tests for Myathenia Gravis, which they felt, even though the first test had proved negative, they felt that it was they felt fairly certain through a process of elimination that in fact was what it was. And what would happen was I would lose further use of not just the eye muscle, but other muscles within my face, and that would continue to deteriorate through the rest of my body. A bit like multiple sclerosis. So it was really getting very, 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 very bad.
Very serious too.
Very serious. I was, as I say, I had 2 weeks off work for heavy detox, but then went back to work after that. I was getting a lift at work. And I enjoyed work. I didn't find it particularly stressful, even though one would anticipate it being stressful.